Shabbat Shalom. Kol Halal Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us His truth. And Shabbat Shalom to all the brothers that push the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. All right, this lesson is going into the fact that everybody's eyes are on our homeland, Yasharallah. Okay, and I got to use code words if I'm gonna not get a strike on this. So everybody's waiting on the small hats to draw them out from our homeland. So everybody's looking over there while Amalek is already drawing them out in the Ukraine. All right, going back to ancient Khazaria. Okay, because that's their actual, homeland, if you will. All right. Well, we know that it's Edom, but and we know that Edom is over there in the Mideast too. But Khazaria, what are they fighting for over there? Okay, and what has started this war, if you will? Where's the war going on right now? Okay, yes, it will eventually be fought in the Valley of Yehoshaphat, right, which is the Middle East. But when you understand, or when you see this information come out, you'll understand that this is taking place right now. All right, Jeremiah 49 and 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. All right, we're watching that right now. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Okay, so when you have Vlad fighting against the so-called Ukrainians, who are the Ukrainians? And who are they fighting? Who did they draw into Ukraine? Okay. Who did the Ukrainians draw into the Ukraine, or drag into World War III? All right, so I'm going to try to make this short, so you're going to have to do a lot of research on your own. So this is Johnny Storm over at Don't Speak News. This video is only 45 seconds because he wants you to go to his home page. So let's watch this real quick. War update. Who's fighting in Ukraine and why? All right, so let's watch this. Okay, already got the small hats. Troops arrive in Ukraine to what? Fight Russia. So what's going on over here and why? I mean, what's going on in the Ukraine and why? If these people are coming to fight against these people, are they not drawing them out? Let's find out.
Yesterday, you guys asked me during the live chat if I would follow up on this story from Hal Turner Radio about Israeli troops arriving in Ukraine to fight Russia. Well, I did that. Been working on it all morning and part of the afternoon, and here we go. It's now finished and up on the website, don'tspeaknews.com. Of course, because it has subject matter we can't speak about anywhere else. So Israeli veteran and volunteers are at least in Ukraine, and there's probably more than that. But I go into great detail here in this, it's about a 15-minute video today. So it's on the website and on BitChute. So there you go. More news you can't speak about at the website, Don't Speak News.
So let's go to the website. If we may, let's see. Okay, there it is. Go there. Now, I have to be careful. I got to be careful what I say and how I say it. All right. And they have what he showed right here, which is that. Okay. And it goes into how they're over there. It says, shows the arrival of Amalekite Defense Force troops to fight against Russia. This is a gigantic stab in the back by Amalek to the other Edomites. Allies and partners don't do things like this. Yep. Okay, if Satan, fight against Satan. Okay. Now, let's watch this real quick. Look at this. It says, on one hand, this may surprise many readers, but after a Ukraine Azov battalion Nazi was allowed to pray at the Wailing Wall inside Yasharallah, as seen in the image below, nothing is as anyone thought. Look at this. So this is a Ukrainian Azov battalion Nazi. What's he doing? Confused yet? If he's in our homeland at this so-called Wailing Wall, right? What is he doing? All right, I thought back in World War II that these people were against each other. Let that sink in. An actual Nazi with a swastika tattoo praying at the Wailing Wall in our homeland. The march towards Armageddon continues. All right, so that's interesting. So let's go here. What's going on the larger front? Let's go this. Small hats return to Khazar, Ukraine. What do you mean return to? So we're going to read some of this and try to get the words right. What does this say? Khazaria. All right. This is the land over there that they're fighting over. Okay. This is the land that they're fighting over. All right. Look at this. Rus. These are the ancient names. Okay. So they're fighting here. In this area. This must be the Black Sea. Okay, so let's read. Oh, wow. Let's read some of this. Let's start right here. The serpent people returned to Ukraine by Tex Mars. And Tex Mars is, they hate this guy because he's done his research and he has some information. All right. From the early centuries of the first millennia, the Khazars of Eastern Europe were known as the diabolical serpent people. And now the nation of Yasharallah has admitted that its people are indeed the Khazars. The admission of the Amalekites that the Yahawadians are not related to ancient Israel, but to Khazaria was reported in the times of Yasharallah, leaked. The admission by the Amalekites, read that, leaked report. Israel acknowledges Judeans, in fact, Khazar's secret plan for reverse migration. Okay, reverse migration to Ukraine. Look at this date, March 8, 2014. That's right about when that war started over there in the Donbass. That article by Professor Jim Wald related that the small hat leadership in our home is sending military equipment and settlers from Yasharallah to Ukraine. All right. The Judeans have taken, or the small hats have taken charge of that ravaged country's government and finances and intend eventually to make the Ukraine a second homeland for the small hats. Here's what's going on. So, this war that started back in 2014 is none other than this. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. The least of the flock of the Edomites got them fighting each other over there. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Okay? Salakia. All right, so let's read a little more of this. Their plan, leaked by government insiders, came only after Netanyahu and his cabinet reviewed growing DNA genetic evidence that the small hats are not the descendants of Abraham. Well, they are the descendants of Abraham. Okay? Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. All right, so get it right. Instead, they came from Khazaria, of which Kiev, Ukraine, is the centerpiece. So why are they over there fighting? That's their homeland. Going back to the Dark Ages, if you will, medieval. All right. In fact, the small hats of our land and the U.S. are of Ukrainian heritage. Ukraine is in the heartland of Khazaria. So when you're dealing with the Ukraine, you're actually dealing with the least of the flock. Have they not started a war? Have they not drawn them out over there? Because right now everybody's looking to our homeland, all right, that was promised to our fathers. They're looking for them to start something. Well, they have. Let's see. This goes into more facts, right? Let's see. I mean, you got to pick out the bones in this because, I mean, some of it may be accurate and some not, like what we pointed out up here. All right. They are the descendants of Abraham and Isaac, but their line goes through Edom, Esau. Okay. So you do have to pick out the bone. Let's jump down here. The Khazars identified in Revelation 2 and 3 as the wicked synagogue of Satan, truth to that, are further identified in Ezekiel 38 and 39 as the people of Gog from the land of Magog. Okay, well, that's I mean, they all are. They're all Edomites, and they're fighting each other. Prophecy clearly tells us that this warlike serpentine people shall invade and conquer our homeland first, right? But they're fighting each other. That's not us over there. Then go on to plunge the entire planet into chaos and war. Well, we see that going on right now. Okay, and they are fighting each other over there in a proxy war in Syria. All right. It says from Khazaria to our homeland and back to Khazaria, Ukraine, is the Small Hats' secret plan. After suppressing the Ukraine nation, the Small Hats' conquest will continue until the Amalekites achieve their new world order. So you see what's going on now, and they got Babylon the Great helping them out. The little or the big Satan. You got the big Satan, you got the little Satan. All right? The Ukraine solution, 2 Amalekite homelands. At first, this was deemed unhappy, even ominous, But, says walled Prime Minister Netanyahu and his advisors, surprised us by bringing in their Ukraine solution. Some small hat settlers would leave our homeland and return to Ukraine. This resettling into Ukraine would take time for reasons of logistics and economics. The end result, however, would be two Amalekite homelands. Our homeland, and I mean Yasharallah, the true, and Ukraine. We're not talking about all the Amalekites going back to Ukraine, explained a well-placed source in intelligence circles. Obviously, this is not practical. Wald calls this solution Khazaria 2.0. All small hats will be welcomed back to Ukraine without condition as citizens. What's more, the small hat government promises an infusion of massive Amalekite military assistance to Ukraine, including troops, equipment. What is equipment? Nukes, and construction of new bases. If the initial transfer works, other West Bank settlers will be encouraged to relocate to Ukraine as well. In effect, Ukraine is to become an autonomous small hat domain, a small-scale successor to the medieval empire of Khazaria. It would be called in Yiddish, Khazaria. All right. By lining up with Syrian rebels and Ukraine, as well as Georgia and Azerbaijan, also part of the Khazarian territory, one source explains Netanyahu puts pressure on both Syria and Russia. So, can you see the small hats drawing them out? Let's read on. Israel and U.S. stage a bloody coup in Ukraine. Thus, we understand the current Ukraine political mess. The small hats launched the quest for their new Ukrainian homeland. They have support from Babylon the Great, as witness the small hat diplomat Victoria Nuland of the State Department. U.S. is warning Vlad to keep a distance from Ukraine and to relinquish Russia's historic ties to that nation, now ruled by the small hats. Got that? Now ruled by the least of the flock. So they are drawing them out in our faces right now. All right? And this information is largely being hidden. The constitutionally elected Ukrainian president Yanukovych was overthrown last year by the U.S. and the small hats, with the CIA and Mossad both deeply involved. All right, that's the 1-2 punch. The small hat billionaire Petro Poroshenko was quickly installed as president. Small hat money and military might is constantly being flown into Ukraine. Ukraine Christians, not Jews, being slaughtered. Genocide is underway. That's what's going on. Wow. All property is big. Okay, going back to World War II, yeah. All property is being appropriated by small hat oligarchs. The small hats learned in Turkey, 1905, Soviet Union and Palestine, 48, how to work as corrupt and calculating minority to dominate a larger Gentile majority. All right, let's see. So the point is that this is taking place under the guise of those small hats that are actually in control over there, are Ukrainians. Now, see, this is making more sense. All right? Surely the least of the flock shall draw them in. So we're watching that right now, which is the point of this lesson. All right, so we're very close because everybody else is looking right in the Middle East for something to jump off. And it is, but I mean, the draw out has already happened. Started back in 2013 and 14. All right, so let's get one more. We'll close on this. This is Luke 11 and 18. If Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? What kingdom? Khazaria 2.0, the NWO. Because ye say that I cast out devils through Beelzebub. Let's see. All right, that's good enough. Let's get this, Matthew. Matthew 12 and 26. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? We're watching that right here. Okay. Johnny Storm. Let's see. All right. How can his kingdom stand? These guys are fighting amongst themselves. All right. So with that, we hope that the elect were edified, you brothers and few sisters. And with that, we're going to say Shabbat Shalom.